and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be giving you book recommendations for romances that have an age gap where the heroine is the older one. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Trope Week. If you didn't know, I am doing a series on my channel where every day for an entire week I pick a specific romance book trope and I give you a ton of recommendations. I've done this series quite a bit on my channel, so I'm not going to make this intro too long, but if you're interested in seeing any other videos that I've done in this series, I will leave it down below. Today we're going to be talking about age gaps, but specifically where the heroine is older. So in Trope Week, I have done an age gap romance rec. I think it was like the first round of it, but even watching back that video, I realized like most of the age gap romances, most of them, usually the hero is the older one, which is totally fine. This is honestly one of my favorite tropes. I love it when the hero is older. I love it when the heroine is older, but I thought it would be fun to really focus on the ladies, you know? Like, let's talk about a heroine who is a little bit more older, a little bit more mature, sexy, doing her thing. And yeah, so I just have a couple books to recommend you guys, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so the very first one I want to recommend is a novella that's available on Kindle Unlimited. It's also a really good audiobook because I did read this audiobook, and that is Spinster Bride by Ruby Dixon. This was a recommendation that I got from Avery. She recommended this book to me, and I'm so happy she did because it's one of my favorite books of all time. I don't know, is that a bold statement? It was definitely the first 5-star of 2022 for me. I adored it. This follows our heroine. Her name is Hala, and she is the Princess of Yersham, I think is how you pronounce it. You know, fantasy worlds, they be having some weird names. So basically she is a princess, and she ends up meeting our hero when he is a young boy. He gets kidnapped by her father because he comes from like a rival neighborhood, and she actually ends up saving our hero when he is a young boy. Their kingdom gets taken over, and she saves him the same day that her kingdom gets overtaken by his father. Because of what happened to her kingdom, she has to go in hiding, and she's kind of like known as the Spinster Bride. Our hero Mathare, he has never forgotten her kindness, and when he becomes king, he decides that he wants to marry her. So he finds her again, and they get married. It is an age gap. It's 8 years. I think they meet when he is 8 and she is 16, and then they meet years later when they're both adults. And this romance is so well written. Honestly, it is so well written. The fantasy element, the world building, there's a lot of like rituals and culture involved in their wedding, and it was so steamy and fun to read. Okay, so the next one is another favorite. I have talked so much about this book. I literally made a dedicated video where I just raved about it, and that is Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. This is the second book in the Nashville Neighborhood series, but you don't have to read this series in order. In fact, this is the only one I've read from the series so far. This is kind of a forbidden romance, just a little forbidden. Most age gap romances are, right? So basically our heroine was married, and she finds out that her husband cheated on her with another man, and she's pretty devastated about it. She goes through this stage in her life where she decides that she is just going to live her best life, okay? She decides to get a boob job, you know, perk up the girls, which is relevant to the story. And one day she is just sunbathing in her backyard topless, and that is how she meets our hero, who is her pool boy, and they share a very sexy, sweet, intimate moment, and it is divine. What makes this even more taboo is that he is actually her best friend's son. So there is quite an age gap between them, and they have to keep their relationship a secret, but it is so well written. They end up bonding throughout the book because of their love of music. I really like how that was incorporated in the story. Troy, our hero, wants to be a music artist, and our heroine works at like a record label company. So it fits together really well. Cannot tell you how much I loved it. My favorite thing about this book is the heroine. Her coming into her confidence and her sexuality, and just everything is so empowering and lovely to read. I highly recommend this book. Okay, the next one, I don't remember how much of an age gap there was, but there's a little bit of an age gap, so I'm throwing it in here, and that is Suddenly You by Lisa Kleypas. Fun fact, this was actually the first Lisa Kleypas book that I ever read. I think I have it on my shelves. Well, I know I have it on my shelves, I just don't know where it is. let me see if I can find the book. Here we go. So here is the book. This is the new edition that has like the sparkly dress and it doesn't have the step back. The other book that has the step back is also on my shelves, but it is falling apart at the seams because I've reread it so many times. Because it was my first Lisa Kleypas, I just hold it very special to me. This follows our heroine Amanda. She's just about to turn 30 and she has really just focused on herself and her career, and she has never married and she's still a virgin. So on her 30th birthday, she decides that she's gonna treat herself to some male company, if you will. She decides to go kind of to a Bordeaux. I don't know if that's like the right word, I'm not sure, and decides to like hire a man to keep her company. And that is where our hero Jack comes in. He is not a male escort. He is actually a publisher of a publishing house and he wants to publish the book that she's writing, but she mistakes him for a male escort and they have like this really steamy moments. Obviously they find out the truth and then he tries to convince her to let him publish her book, and he is younger than her, but I love their romance. And again, I loved our heroine becoming more confident in herself and her sexuality. That seems to be a theme throughout a lot of these books, and this one is just one of my favorites. And I feel like it's one of those Lisa Kleypas books that not a lot of people talk about because it's one of her only standalones. Like most of her books are series, the Wallflower series, the Ravenel series, the Hathaway series, but this one can be read completely by itself. There's no other ongoing story or character. It's just standalone and it's wonderful. Okay. The next book I want to recommend, okay. Stay with me, please stay with me. This is for my people who love messy books. You love the mess. You're okay with a little bit of toxicness, you know? You just want a book that's wild and free and crazy. You want it crazy, okay? This is the book for you, and it is Push by Nyla Kay. Hear me out, guys. I haven't even told you this book, but I'm like prepping you for this wild ride. So this is a book on Kindle Unlimited. It's quite a long book, but it is such a journey. It is a journey, let me tell you. This is a poly romance, okay? It starts out with a married couple, Ben and Jessica. They're married. They had kids, or a kid, when they were really young, like 16, 17. So they're these young, hot parents, madly, deeply in love with each other, and they're married, okay? Their daughter decides to bring home a boy for Thanksgiving break. She is off to college, but now she's coming home with her new boyfriend. This is the first boy that she's ever brought in home. His name is Ryan. And Ryan and Ben have a connection. It is so messy, but please hear me out, okay? I loved this book. I really did. Basically what ends up happening is he is dating their daughter, but when he meets them, he feels this instant connection and attraction to them. One late night, Ben and Ryan are drunk and they hook up and have this very intense moment, and then they continue to kind of hook up. I don't want to do any spoilers, but I kind of have to tell you a little bit of the direction of this book, and it is in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler. Jessica, the wife, ends up finding out about all of this, and at first she's a little hurt because she is upset because there's like a very small little bit of a cheating trope in here. I know, I'm really sorry, that's not a great trope, but I swear this book handles it really good. So Jessica, the wife, ends up finding out, and instead of being upset, she actually is kind of into it. She thinks it's kind of hot. So she decides that she is going to jump in on this bandwagon, and they become a poly couple. So it has our married couple, Ben and Jessica, who are older, and then Ryan, who is this young, hot college student. I think there's a 15-year age gap. Yeah, it's a poly romance, so there's 3 characters, but the one heroine in this book is older. So there you go. Yes, by the way, the guy does end up breaking with like their daughter and their girlfriend, and like that's really sad for her, and I'm like, it's messy, you know, it is really messy, you know, but you just have to go for the journey. And I promise you, it is a journey. And if you like wild, messy books, this is it for you. I just really want someone to read this book and like talk to me about it, because I was just so engrossed into the story, and I love poly romances, and I don't mind something a little bit more messy. I feel like I have to give you that trigger warning of it there being cheating in it, because some people get really upset with that trope, and like, understandable, babe, but I'm just like, if you just go for the journey, it will take you places that you didn't expect. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so the next book is a book I'm actually currently reading in audiobook. It's also in Kindle Limited, and that is The Takeover by T.L. Swan. This is the second book in the Miles High Club, and this is also a book that you can read by itself. I never read the first book. This one was recommended to me by Jen from the Book Refuge and Crystal from Crystal Bookish Life. They both love this book, and I can totally see why. So it follows Tristan and Claire. Claire owns a company. She's taking care of this company because her husband tragically passed away and left this empire. I think it's like a publishing company or something like that. And she has to take it over and also raise her 3 sons by herself. So she's quite devastated by the loss of her husband. The book picks up 5 years after the fact, and her company is not doing well. And that is where our hero Tristan comes in. He is actually trying to buy the company from her, and he's kind of like a little bit of a snake in the business world. He's a little cocky, a little arrogant, and she does not want anything to do with him, does not want to sell her company. She's still devastated by her husband's loss, but somewhere in the mix of that, they end up meeting again at a business conference in Paris and share like a very intimate moment, and their romance goes on, and it's really sweet because it talks a lot about grief and finding love again and her becoming more confident. And he also has, you know, a little bit of a relationship with her sons, which was also really sweet to read about. This book is hilarious. Claire is so hilarious and is not afraid to put our hero in his place, and she is a little bit older than him. I don't remember the exact age gap, but she is older. So I haven't finished this one yet, but I'm almost done. I just have a couple chapters left, and it is looking to be a 5-star read. Very good. I can see why everyone on BookTube loves it. So if you want another age gap romance, there you go. If you guys have ever watched my Trope Week videos, I give recommendations of books that I've read, and at the very end, I just give you some books that have this trope that are on my personal TBR in case you want to check out, or if you've read them and you can let me know if they're worth checking out. So I just have 2, just real quick, that are on my TBR. The first one is Claiming the Courtesan by Anna Campbell. This one has a heroine who is older, and it's a historical romance, and I'm very interested in this one. And then the second one, I believe, is like a BDSM type romance, and that is The Dom Who Loved Me by Lexi Blake. This one keeps popping up on my feed so much. Never read anything by Lexi Blake, so I'm very interested in reading this one as well. Don't know too much about those plots or synopsises, but I'm interested. Let me know if you've read them. Also, let me know if you have any other recommendations for age gap romances where the heroine is older. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Side note, do you guys like my shirt? Let me show you. I should have showed you this in the beginning because truly it is an awesome shirt. Like this. Yes. It says, Daily Affirmations, I will not buy books on eBay again. And we all know that's a lie. We all know it's a lie. This is design that my friend Desiree from Genki Reader created with Bonfire. I believe the design is still up. I'm pre-filming videos, so these are being posted like a month later than they're being filmed. You know, my little secrets. That's my secret to actually posting videos on time, is I have to pre-film. But anyways, I think the design is still up, so I will link Desiree's information down below, as well as the link if you want to buy the sweater. It comes in different colors and different sizes, and also different cuts. Like, you can get just a t-shirt, or you can get a hoodie. Yeah, just wanted to tell you guys about that in case you like my sweater. Anyhoozles, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!